Hello and welcome to Fantasy Premier League, the D Unit's journey. I am FPL D Unit and I am sitting here. I'm pretty happy, truth be told, about how my wildcard in Gameweek 12 has gone so far. I think I nailed the draft, and I'm going to talk through the draft that I locked in at the end on the deadline day stream at the beginning of Gameweek 12. I'm going to go over that and everything I've learned so far this weekend from fantasy. There has been goals galore, and every striker that isn't called Erling Haaland and Wissa and Dominic Calvert-Lewin pretty much delivered this game week. It's insane. The points this week are super high. The average currently, as we are talking, well, it reckons that the average is actually only 30 points, but that can't be correct, surely. Now, there are some people who have got very low scores this week, but the majority of people have significantly high scores, as we'll get into. And look, I suppose the best place to start is my early thoughts ahead of Game Week 13. And obviously, we're still waiting on the Newcastle and West Ham game, which is tonight at St. George's Park. And I've got Lewis Hall and Isaac in that game, so I'm hoping I've got a big green arrow at the moment. I'm hoping for an even bigger one. With some luck, I might actually gain another 23,000 places from the Newcastle game, which will hopefully take me back inside the top 100,000 teams, which is not bad considering I started the week at 169,000. All right, so without further ado, let's get into my early thoughts ahead of Game Week 13. So there's a bit to talk through here. And look, so far, my wildcard's been going pretty good. There's been a number of players that have returned for me. Jackson was a good pick. I mean, the disappointing thing here, a bit of hindsight, is maybe I could have stuck with Cunha for the time being, but Jackson is likely to rise in price this week as well. He would deliver with a goal and assist and 3 bonus points, 12 points straight off the bat for me. And it wasn't Cole Palmer that was getting involved, which was interesting, but it was, Nicholas Jackson. He was an inspired choice. The only disappointing thing here is that I didn't pick Cunha. Jackson actually was Cunha prior to this game week, and Cunha somehow got 2 goals and assists and got 16 points. Mad. I mean, it's one of them sliding doors moments. If I'd actually gone with the Haaland draft, I would have played both Jao Pedro, who's sitting on my bench, and we'll have a look at my team shortly, and I would have played Cunha, so I would have got 28 points, but I would have got Erling Haaland's too. Whereas without going the Haaland draft, I've gone with Jackson, who's already got me 12. I went with Saka, who got me 13. And obviously I captained Salah as well. So that seemed to be that was definitely the right captaincy pick. I mean, Saka's 13 points was delicious as well, and he looked very good on return. And I'm very happy with having him in my team moving forward. Now, Man United, as I did in my lot too long last night, they were a hard watch. Marcus Rashford did start up top, which was interesting, but I don't know if I've got the confidence to recommend him at this point, but he would be a very good differential moving forward. Ahmad was amazing. I think he was Man United's best player. At 4.9 million, he's going to rise in price. He's got the right wing-back role nailed on as far as I'm concerned moving forward. I think you couldn't go too far wrong if you brought him in. Anana obviously did amazing things in goal. Unfortunately, he did concede, but he made some great stops. He looked good. I think that with a couple of weeks and the return to fitness of Euro and Martinez and Shaw, potentially we'll see things tighten further up. And once the midfield actually isn't just Casemiro and Eriksen, I think you'll see a better structure there as well. And you can see the structure on display, but it is a little bit too early to jump on Man United assets because you think you want to see how they develop over the short term. I mean, Bruno Fernandes was pivotal in creating chances in the XG in the game, and we'll get into that in a little bit. He blanked, but then he got moved deeper in the second half. So that's also a slight concern, being a Bruno Fernandes owner from this game week. Spurs did Spursy things. Now, I hate talking about that club after Dominic Solanke, and he somehow gets an assist against Man City, and Man City gets spanked 4-0. Like, what is going on with Man City? That is 5 games in a row they've lost. What is going on? Could someone please tell me? If there are any City fans out there, you have to look under probably a bin lid to find them, because they're short and they're very short on numbers. The Eddie had all them lining up to hand back their shirts after the 5th loss in a row. I think the wheels are falling off at the City bandwagon. But like, what's going on? And Erling Haaland continues to get massive XG numbers and continues to fluff his lines. I watched that game and he had chances that earlier in the season he was just burying. He kept on missing in this game. I do not know what's going on with that man, but it is disappointing for his owners. And look, he is being sold heavily. He's now, I think as of speaking, he's no longer the most owned player in fantasy. So there you go. The numbers are talking and they are walking away from Erling Haaland at the moment. Now, Heaps of forwards scored. Jao Pedro, as I said, he sat on my bench, and I've got 12 points sitting on my bench. With Brian and Buemo, Cole Palmer, and Bruno Fernandes all blanking, it kind of hurts having 12 points sat on your bench. And there's other people, and we'll talk about them soon, that left Cunha on their benches instead of Chris Wood. Now, you would be absolutely filthy if that was your team. So shout out to Ahmet. You unfortunately got that one horribly wrong, mate, and we'll cover that a little bit later on. But yeah, there were so many big scores this week, and you know, if you had a few of them like I did, then you're sitting pretty. And then obviously the last one, how hard is it for Chelsea and Brighton to just keep a clean sheet? Like I had Colwell and Verbruggen's clean sheets pretty much taken away after 90 minutes in both of those games. I mean, I was so close to having, I think Verbruggen was actually on bonus points as well because because of the fact it was 2-0 or whatever. I'm pretty confident he was getting at least one bonus point. And so he essentially went from, I think it was, so he lost 4 points. He would have been on 8 points. Instead, he got me 3. And obviously Colwell was on 6 and ended up with 2. So disappointing. I was like 9 points missed out there. I would have been even higher on my green arrows, but unfortunately that's just what it is. And Liverpool defenders. I mean, double up Liverpool defence. I'm so glad I didn't do that this week. Against Southampton, you thought they were a lock. Other than Kelleher, obviously saved the penalty before then conceding the goal. He's the only one that actually delivered. He got 7 points for that. Well, shout out to him. I did say that he was worth potentially keeping for a week, but then I'd be burning a transfer on the deadline stream. So look, that's my early thoughts so far. Now, I suppose the best place to start now is to actually go to my team and have a look at what's going on. So this is my team currently as we speak. So in the end, I locked in here. Verbruggen obviously got me 3 points. Other than Jao Pedro sitting on the bench, I nailed the defenders. I mean, Van Heck and Kirkes both ended up on 1 point each. They were the correct defenders at this moment in time, unless Lewis Hall gets himself booked or sent off. I definitely got the defenders right. And I mean, Jao Pedro, in reality, I would never have started him with the other 7 players I had this week. And, you know, 3 of the 7 so far have delivered, and they've delivered me big points. And I did say that on average, I was hoping for 70 points. I'm on 65, and as long as Isaac and Hall both play 60 minutes, that's going to take me to 69 minimum. And then if Isaac scores or whatever, I'm looking at like potentially 80 points. I think it's quite realistic to expect a goal from Isaac tonight, which means he's going to probably be getting at least 6 points, if not 9, depending on the bonus point system. And then Lewis Hall, I think West Ham aren't going to score, so it could be another 6 there. That would be another 15. That would take me to 80 points. I'll be pretty damn happy with that on Wildcard. So as you can see now, I'm up to 123,481. My team value, it did obviously drop with these transfers because obviously I'd transferred a few players out that I did have value in, but it's now currently 103.4 in case anyone is wondering. So that's interesting in and of itself. Saka was obviously, I ended up going with him instead of Odegaard. Odegaard also did return, which was interesting, and he looked like he was pulling the strings for a lot of that Arsenal game. And Nottingham Forest, as I predicted, they've finally run into some good teams, and their results are the same. Like I think that's a regression to the norm of what we're seeing with Nottingham Forest. So just take that with a word of caution. Now, looking ahead to next week, and look, as I said, I really like the way my team is set up. So I want to go to pick team for this week. This is how I'm going to be lining up. Kirkes stays on the bench. That was the toss-up. It was either Kirkes or Ait-Nouri. Nicholas Jackson actually gets benched here because Brighton obviously have Southampton at home, and I'm backing in all their assets. So Jao Pedro has to start here. I mean, realistically, I think Bruno Fernandes has got Everton at home, and Buemo's got Leicester at home. I mean, the one that I was actually tossing up potentially not playing was Cole Palmer instead of Nicholas Jackson. But I just think that Cole Palmer surely is due a return any sign. And like, there's every chance. I'm actually expecting there to be me to get this wrong for next week. But I will be thinking about it over the course of the week and seeing how things develop. I don't intend on making a transfer. I don't think I need to. My team looks very strong for next week. The only one I'm probably concerned about is Ait-Nouri keeping a clean sheet up with Bournemouth. But I don't think Kirkes is likely to keep a clean sheet either, just judging from the way Wolves have been attacking. So I'm pretty damn happy with the way things are sitting from a team perspective. I think that's going to keep me a couple of green arrows over the coming weeks. And that 5-man premium sort of midfield is looking good. And Buemo and 14, I have got him earmarked to be transferred. So that's probably going to be my first move that I do post wildcard. It just depends on how he goes, particularly this week. I mean, Brentford's run, as we see here, it does get significantly worse, as you can see there. He's got Leicester at home, and his numbers have really dried up the last few weeks. I mean, he only had 0.12 expected goal involvement on the weekend. Not fabulous. I know they only had 10 men for a large part of the game, but it's not ideal. It's not something you want moving forward. So I think that's something I'm going to have to be aware of. And if you're also an Mbeumo owner, you're probably going to have to be aware of that as well, particularly with that line of fixtures coming up. I mean, Aston Villa away might not be too bad. And obviously they attack pretty hard at the GTEC Stadium, but I think that's just something you've got to be aware of, and his price is going to go down. I bought him at 7.2, so if he does drop in price to 7.8, which I'm not sure if he did, no, he hasn't, he's still at 7.9. I don't think he's going to rise to 8, so I'm not going to make any more money out of him. So I can afford one price drop, so I've got a little bit of time to think about it moving forward. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. Now, on to the FPL Challenge. Now, my FPL Challenge team for the budget has actually gone super well on the whole. So, Jao Pedro obviously scored massive points. Probably a Valentin. I could have tried to get Cunha, but I did get Rashford in for 6.9 in the midfield, and he did deliver. And Mo Salah obviously got the captaincy right. He got 13 points, and that was doubled to 26. Connor Bradley, though, unfortunately, I didn't get the Liverpool defence right. Other than Kelleher, I did have Kelleher in goal, which was nice. Nice 7 points there, and I've got Hall to play. So, I'm looking pretty good. It's currently sitting in the top 10,437 teams, which I'd imagine is quite high in terms of the percentage. And with Hall to come, that is looking pretty good. Now, onto the players that have been getting sold and bought very early. Now, 336,000 managers have already sold Erling Haaland. So, I mean, that is damning. He's getting sold so much at the moment. It is actually insane. Now, the same amount of people are pretty much bringing in Cunha. So it's pretty much a straight swap between Cunha and Jao Pedro from Erling Haaland at the moment. And obviously Raul Jimenez is obviously being sold quite strongly as well. And that's because Fulham run into a difficult run of fixtures from here on in. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Semenyo, he's obviously got booked, so he will not be playing this week. So that's probably why he's being sold. Alexander-Arnold, again, they've got Man City and a couple of difficult fixtures coming up. And Luis Diaz, again, started on the bench. And he's almost back to his starting price of 7.5. I think he dropped in price overnight, so he's down to 7.6. So he's risen up, and now he's rising back to where he began. Probably says all you need to know there. Now, Pedro Porro, people are bringing in. You still can't trust the Tottenham defence. It was a fluke that they didn't concede. I mean, Erling Haaland had so many chances, and yes, he scored a goal, but that's probably his one goal. When was the last time he scored? Game week 1. He scored again in game week 12. Congratulations. I don't know if he's someone you should be buying. I know they've got Fulham this week, but Fulham every chance to score a goal against Tottenham, let's be honest, with the way they play 100%. Now, Saka, I'm not surprised he's being heavily bought. And Mo Salah continues to rise in popularity and ownership. So that's also something to keep in mind. Now, quickly to the leagues. I have in my own league, Think You Can Beat the D Unit. The league code is in the description of this video, so please make sure you join. If you do want to get involved with some absolute nonsense talking and all things FPL related, please join the WhatsApp group, but be aware it is heavily used during the weekend, so don't join if you're of the faint of heart and you don't like the updates. But we do cover everything fantasy related, and we do talk about all these ideas with lots of people that are in this league. So I've risen to 4th. As you can see there, I've had a pretty good green hour. I've actually top scoring amongst the top 5 teams. I mean, Turkish Dalit at the moment is, I think, the top scorer this week. Let's have a look. He was when I last checked last night, and oh no, he's not. So Speed Races, Grace Patrick, unbelievable, 86 points. She's tapped out though. That's an amazing score. So this is the girl earlier in the season that kept on making transfers for fun every week and pretty much changing her team and copping minus 50s and minus 30s and stuff, whatever. She's now, with my advice, after I caught up with her, created a decent team and she's got 86 points. That's absolutely fantastic. Well done, Grace Patrick. You are the top scorer for this week prior to, obviously, Monday Night Football, and that could potentially change. There is no reason to think. Now, if we look at the top, so I have made a little bit of ground on the person at the top. I've caught Rajan up by 2 points. But Rajan here has got no one left to play. So I am going to catch him a little bit more. I've got 2 players to come. I could close the gap by hopefully at least another 10 points would be nice. Finish. Unfortunately, he's lost the top place, and that is mainly because of the fact that he's unfortunately picked Chris Wood over Cunha, and unfortunately, he's still got 2 players to come, so his score is going to improve. But yeah, that's just unfortunate. And he did take a -4 into the week as well, which has probably hurt him a little bit, particularly with that Cunha pick sitting on the bench. And then Camp, this bloke, competitive edge by Kevin. Kevin, he's doing pretty good as well. Unfortunately, he's also tapped out for the week. He's not going to be getting any more points. He's still rolling with the Haaland. I wonder if he will be potentially transferring him out this week. We'll have to wait and see. But potentially I could catch him tonight if I have a massive haul from Isaac and Hall. We'll just have to wait and see. But I'm pretty happy with the way things are starting. The green arrows are always really nice, and that's what the league is there for, right? So, look, that's what we're here for, and hopefully that continues moving forward. Now, onto the transfers really quickly. Players did catch my eye that I think you need to be aware of. Obviously, Verbruggen and Brighton have Southampton at home, and surely they can keep a clean sheet. I think that they're going to defend a lot better than Liverpool did. I saw enough in the Bournemouth game to make me think that Brighton are very capable of doing that. I'm quite happy tripling up on them this particular game week. Chelsea, I'm concerned about the Aston Villa game. Ollie Watkins did score. Morgan Rogers, again, though, disappointed his owners. So, lots of people asked me about Solanke and Rogers, and I couldn't recommend Solanke after what he did the week before, but in reality, that was the better call. So keep that in mind. Now, the double Arsenal defence, that looked amazing. And look, Gabriel is being transferred back in like hotcakes. But in reality, Jordan Pickford, he's actually been really good. Again, Everton, I did say they were likely to keep clean sheets in some of these games. However, the Everton run is soon to end after the Wolves game, and then it's horrible. So I wouldn't be recommending jumping on now. But again, David Raya, if we go back to the goalkeepers really quickly, David Raya was really good on the weekend. He obviously got the clean sheet. And look at moving forward, I do like their run for clean sheets. I think the double up on Arsenal defence does look good. There's some people have even tripled up on them. But I think the real pick that I noticed from the weekend is obviously Pedro Porro scored the goal and he's moved up the defensive ranks. Liverpool's defence are really disappointing. But Gabriel, obviously he got the 6 points. Jurriën Timber, though, looked amazing. Now, at 5.5, he's significantly cheaper, and I think he's someone that you probably need to be aware of. The Man United defence, I still can't recommend him. Mazraoui is a really delicious price. I just think if you're a Man United and you want to jump on their defence, you probably wait till they've played a few games under Amarin, and then you wait for Lenny Yori to come in, because Lenny Yori is going to be dirt cheap, and he could be a really good enabler. He will definitely rise in price once he comes in, but at the moment he's not. So I'd be holding my breath if I was chasing Man United defensive assets. I'm still not convinced by how they're all going to line up and fit in, and I'm not even convinced that Mazraoui and Dalot will even be in the team once all the others are fit. That's just my personal opinion. Luca Dean, unfortunately, if you went there, he did Luca Dean things. As soon as he gets in the team, he was disappointing. So, as soon as you bring him into your team, he's disappointing. He didn't even start. So that was very frustrating for his owners. Robertson was obviously, I think Robertson returned, didn't he? No, he didn't. He only got 1 point, obviously. So the Liverpool defence in general were quite disappointing. I'm just going to quickly round points. There we go. That'll be much better. So Young, obviously, 3 bonus points again. He's been such a dirt cheap price for 4.5. I mean, the Everton defence has actually been fairly decent. And I did say that they were likely to keep clean sheets, and they have kept clean sheets. Jurriën Timber, as I said, he's probably the pick of the Arsenal defenders because of the fact he is cheaper, and he did get into some good attacking positions. Brentford finally kept the clean sheet, and Flecken finally got it. It took him 12 weeks, but they finally got there. Flecken got the bonus points as well. It was probably mainly down to the fact that Everton just can't score goals. They're a bit like Manchester United, really, in that respect. Any other defenders that really caught my eye this week? Probably not. I mean, as I said, the Brighton ones are the ones you want to be aware of. Veltman's about to rise in price in case anyone is wondering, so that's something to keep an eye out for if you want to jump on that. But again, he could be a bit of a rotation risk moving forward. And I think that's all the defenders I really want to cover this week. I don't really rate any of the other ones. Now, midfielders, if we go to them, James Maddison returned. Now, I said weeks ago that he was a great differential, and finally he got played in a system where Kulusevski was on the right, Maddison took up that number 10 position, and he ran Man City off their feet. He was absolutely fantastic. Can you recommend Tottenham assets? I still can't recommend them. I was still traumatized by, it'd be very Spursy that they beat City and then next weekend they lose at home to Fulham. It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest, and for that reason, I can't recommend him. If you are willing to take a gamble, though, 7.5, he is a good transfer from Mbeumo. If he performs again, potentially I could be tempted the following week for game week 14. But at this point, I'm not. Now, Issa, he 5.7 million. He was brilliant this week. But look, that's a 1 week wonder. I wonder if people will be bringing him in, but that is a 1 week wonder in the purest form. I mean, he's done nothing all season except an assist against Leicester in game week 4 until this week. So do not go there. That is my recommendation. Mo Salah continues his unbelievable form. That's 12, 10, 9, 14, 13 last 5 weeks. That is unbelievable. I would not back against him as captain this week against Man City. I know they got Man City, but Man City have been conceding goals left, right and centre. He's an early captain choice for sure, and he has got the captain armband for one. Now, someone that you probably... Enzo, obviously, he was interesting. 4.8 million. Again, I don't think he's someone that's going to continue that, even though he did get an assist against Arsenal as well. He plays in the centre defensive area, but if he keeps on attacking more, he may become an option. But I wouldn't be going there. Jao Gomez, again, he's actually had 2 really good weeks out of the last 3, returning big points in that time. But again, prior to that, he hasn't really done much. And again, he's someone that you can't really go. Szoboszlai, this is the kind of performance from Liverpool that I've been expecting from him for a while. But again, the numbers really there don't back up the data. So again, he's a very hard recommend. Matoma, he was good. People I think have forgotten about how good Matoma is. He plays 90 minutes pretty much every week when he's fit. And, he was good. Got a goal. And with the run coming up, he'd be brilliant. If I wasn't already tripled up on Brighton, I would potentially consider going to him from Mbeumo in game week 14. Ahmad is the other one I want to talk about. Ahmad and Rashford. So Rashford started as the number 9, and if he starts there again and scores again against Everton this week, I think he will get a run as number 9 for Man United under Amarin. So that's something to definitely keep your eye out for. I wouldn't be jumping on him this week. Now, if there's a player from Man United you would want to jump on this week, and he will be in the differential video tomorrow 100%, and that's Amad Diallo. He was definitely the player of the match as far as I was concerned. He dominated. His XG numbers don't really tell the full story here. He got the 1 assist and he got 3 bonus points, but he was there. I love the role that he was. He looked attacking. I mean, late on in the game, he also went in and had a great run, went past a couple of players, had a shot that was blocked, but I really liked what I saw, and I think he's going to get a run at 4.9 million. He's a great enabler if that is a position you want to go moving forward. I mean, I'm thinking that potentially in 3 weeks' time, I might do 3 transfers, Ahmad for Mbeumo, and then upgrade 2 defenders. So I get a Raya in and then maybe a slightly better defender. So that way I can sort of play a 3-4-3 and I can expect hopefully a bit more clean sheets. I'm not sure. But at the moment, he's definitely an option that you could definitely look at. Now, Gordon hasn't played, and there's no one else. Iwobi again scored. So again, he's delivering as many points as Smith Rowe. So definitely keep an eye on him when Fulham's run changes again in game week 17 and 19. That's definitely the time to target Fulham players. I wouldn't be jumping on board before then, but he has been amazing, Iwobi, so keep that in mind. Jorginho is another player to keep in mind as well for Brighton if you aren't tripled up on Brighton like I am with the players you've got. Now, the forwards, look at them. How many of them returned? So many. It's mad. Strand Larsen got an assist. Cunha, 2 goals and assists, 16 points. It's annoying not having him, but like when I own the next 2 underneath him, I'm not really complaining. And if Isaac scores once or twice tonight and raises to that list, you can't have them all. You can only have 3 forwards. So at the end of the day, I'm not displeased. 12 points you're going to take every day of the week. So I think that's quite important to move forward there as well. Dominic Solanke's in that list, but he just frustrates me. Ollie Watkins, though, his numbers were pretty good in this game. So he had an XG of 1.3. He really underperformed his XG numbers. He did look damaging. Against Chelsea, I can see him potentially scoring. I mean, I can see him scoring the next 4 weeks. So he could be someone else you could go to depending on what your team is stating. If you're in the Haaland camp, you couldn't go too far wrong with bringing Ollie Watkins in. I do like Isaac's run, though. It is better. He's got Crystal Palace obviously away next week. But Crystal Palace has shown that they can defend a little bit better in recent times. But yeah, that's definitely someone I'll be going. I think Isaac's still definitely the pick, and he's not going to be a minute's risk. I was kind of hoping for a Nicholas Jackson yellow card, so that way, because I'm intending on benching him this week, I was kind of hoping he'd get it, and then he'd be definitely fit for Southampton. Now I run the risk of him getting a yellow card against Aston Villa, so that is also kind of disappointing. But look, I'm happy to wear that risk, especially when he delivers 12 points on his return, starting in the team. Van Linson, unfortunately, his numbers in this game, which was a weird game. His XG numbers are actually not too bad. 0.52 expected goal involvement, 0.51 expected goal in. But he just wasn't. He wasn't there. So he was disappointing, and so was Wissa. But again, that's down to the fact that Brentford were playing with 10 men for so long in that game. They probably did well to even get what the numbers he got. But again, he probably fluffed his irons. 0.82 expected goals, and he didn't score. So that was disappointing in terms of his owners. But and Raul Jimenez, obviously, and Calvert-Lewin continue to stink it up. And Danny Welbeck was largely anonymous, I felt. 0.03 expected goal involvement over 85 minutes. So he wasn't really involved in the goals. Jao Pedro was definitely the one that stepped up, and he was brilliant. So if we have a quick look at his thing, so he actually outperformed his XG numbers massively. So he was expected to get 1 assist, but his goal came from 0.29 expected goals. So that's fantastic. That's what you want. And I'm pretty happy with the fact that he's in my team, and he will definitely be getting a run out against Southampton this week. So those are my early thoughts ahead of Game Week 13. I am really hoping for Isaac and Palmer Isaac and Hall to hopefully boost me into the top 100,000 teams by the end of the game week. You'll have to keep an eye out for how well that goes, and hopefully with a little bit of luck, I will be rising up in rank back inside the top 100,000 teams. Make sure you join me for the differentials video tomorrow, and please make sure you like the video and subscribe if you're new, and get on board. Join the chat. Join the community. That's what we're here for. And hopefully you've had a good week and a green arrow in Game Week 12. I look forward to covering more content for you for Game Week 13. That's been the D Unit.